Uh-oh, it's a live stream on the 15th. Happy Sunday, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. It's Marshall, and I'm doing my weekly live stream. Hello, hello. I want to give a quick shout-out to the folks in the chat room. We've got Dascos. We've got Mr. Cow Food. What's happening, fellas? Thanks for joining me here on the adventure. So, as if anyone's been following along on the stream, if you haven't been, I'll just give a quick update. Been working on a trance tune here the last few weeks, utilizing the brand new Studio Electronics / Roland SE-02 and the new D-05 that I just got last week. I think it was last week. Yeah, so I'm using a couple of patches from here, and I'll talk about them in a little bit. And then I've made a custom patch on the SE-02. I think they fit really well, and digging the track so far. So what I'm going to do, I've been able to put in some time and do a little extra work this week. So I'm pretty close to getting this thing in terms of the composition wrapped up. So I'm pretty excited to get this one finished up here. So I'll go ahead and play through what I have at the moment, and we'll keep working on it. So that's where we're at right now. So I think it's coming along good. I've got pretty much the composition wrapped up, and I'll just kind of talk about a little bit about what I've changed since last week. So let me find this shot here. So first thing is, and actually I'm just going to go ahead and delete the mini Moog channel because I'm not going to utilize that in this track. But so the D-05, I'm utilizing two different patches. I'm using the from User Bank 2 patch 61 Rainforest, and then I'm using another one. I want to say it's patch bank 4. I can't remember the exact patch, but it's the Marimba. And I have both of those kind of layered up. Now, I think I was looking at utilizing the Roland D-50 plugin, but like, so where I can have like the D-05 and the Roland plugin and not have to sample the D-05 just yet. But unfortunately, the patch lists don't match up, and I'm still trying to figure out on how I can transfer patches between the two, so I haven't had time to figure that out yet. So I just sampled the Marimba, and then I've got the Rainforest patch playing live. So that's what's going on here, and I'll just mute this and sample it for you guys, so hold on here. So that's the Rainforest patch, and I need to actually scoot this over. So this is playing live off the D-05. Just kind of a nice little airy kind of pad thing. And then the Marimba, and these are sampled. So I basically recorded these, and then I've got the Rainforest playing live. So that's one thing that's new. The other thing is I've popped in a Poly 6 from the Chord Legacy collection. Actually, I'm using two of them, but basically I've kind of tweaked this preset quite a bit. It doesn't even sound like the original preset anymore. And I started kind of playing around with some things. So you can actually utilize an EQ like a filter, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. So I'm doing some filter on automation on this sound. This is kind of the arpeggiated sound that comes about halfway through the track, and doing some filter sweeps and stuff. I think this actually comes in a little bit too early, so I'm going to play around with taking part of this out. But let me just kind of show you what I mean with the filter automation. So I've got two of these, so I can split the stereo spectrum a little bit here and get a little bit wider sound. And then on the group channel, I've got another EQ to kind of make sure we don't get too low or too high, because it gets a little squelchy on the high end. So this kind of tames that down a little bit, and then some delay and sidechain compression, etc. So let me just play this for you. And you'll watch here the EQ, since I've got the automation set up on here. Let's go into one of the channels where it's doing stuff on the envelope. And we pick the Poly 6. So, and that's the other thing. I'm doing some, the arpeggiator is coming directly from the plugin, and I'm kind of toggling the latch on and off in a few spots. But where is the EQ? Here it is. Frequency, yep, that's the one. And you can see here I just kind of have a little kind of going up and down like that. So, and you'll see this translate on the actual EQ on this page, and each one of these has its own EQ that I'm using as a filter. So I'll just mute myself and play this part for you. So you can see that filter sweep, or EQ sweep, acting as a filter, like a high pass filter basically. And this is, since the latch is on, I actually need to trigger one of these up here to shut that off. But anyway, yeah, so let's keep working on this. That's pretty much the only things that I've changed since last time. And yeah, so like I said, I think that there's a part in here where this arpeggiated sequence comes in a little too early in this section right here. And so I'm going to try and take out probably half of this and just kind of see what that sounds like, and we'll go from there. So. I think it sounds better in there, but what I probably should do, just because I think the transition between where it drops into this and how this kind of comes in is a little abrupt still, so I need to find a way to kind of smooth out that transition somehow. And I thought that this other little sequence here would fill that void, but it's just not enough, I don't think. So I think probably what I'm going to try here is adjusting the automation on the Poly 6 VCF. So to where this kind of sweeps up into, in other words, yeah, here, like what I have here, but just more drastic, I think. So I'll try and like bring this down like here maybe. And we'll see if this has a better result for the drop in for this part of the tune. So I'll just copy this and we'll paste it in here, and then I should have my automation copied over. There we go. So let's just see what this sounds like. Yeah, so I just kind of took Calfood's advice there. I tried muting a little bit of the effects here, but I think what actually is causing it to kind of be weird, it was the actual filter sweep. So I just basically have a slower transition for that up through here, and I think that sounds better. Might be something that I'll kind of work on a little bit more. Plus, the build-up leading up to this isn't quite complete either. So that's something that I need to address as well. But I think what I'm going to do here at this point is, because you can probably hear a little bit of clicking and popping and those kind of things. And basically with everything that's going on in the track, the CPU is having a hard time with the buffering and everything. So I think I'm going to bounce out the main instruments here. So like the SE-02, I'll bounce out the D-05 tracks and try and consolidate some of these plugins as well to conserve processing power. And then I can really kind of go back and address some of these other little issues. They're just little things that just need to get worked out. But and then the final step will be, once I've got everything basically bounced out to audio, go back through and try and get the mix as good as I can, and then obviously go through the mastering. And I should hopefully be able to get all that done in the next few days. And so next weekend, I'll probably move on to something new. And we'll see what that ends up being. Probably experiment some more with some of these new instruments. I've also got a JX-03 here that I picked up, and I have not hardly touched it. I went through some of the presets on it, but I haven't been able to do any kind of sound design on it to see what it's really capable of. So I want to kind of explore that a little bit. Obviously the D-05. I think I want to try and get and do some custom programming on the D-05 with the D50 librarian. I think I've done a little bit of just playing around in that, and it really opens up the potential of the D-05, I think, without having to do a bunch of menu diving and stuff. So that's going to be fun, I think. Yeah, so let's go through and just do some work here. So, and what I'll do, what I tend to do is I'll duplicate my MIDI tracks and then mute them, bounce out the audio. And once I've got all the audio tracks that I need, then basically I save that as a earlier version rev of the track, if that makes sense, in case I need to go back for any of the MIDI. And then I'll save a new version with everything bounced into audio. So let's just duplicate this guy. Let's mute that one. And then I'll center this guy up. And because of this, this is an extra track that's just basically routed with audio from the same audio interface. So I'm getting, again, my stereo spectrum split. So this I won't need at this point, so we can delete that. And then we freeze this guy. And it's going to play through, and it's going to it should key everything off the track or off the system here. I'm not sure. I'm not hearing anything. Oh, I hear it now. It's just really quiet. Not sure if you guys are hearing that. But it's super quiet. I can barely hear it. Yeah, so let's let this do its thing. So cow food, you picked up a Digitact, right? Oh, that's good. Okay, you can hear it. That's good. Tell me what you think of the Digitact, because that is something that is kind of on my radar here eventually. Oh, cool. Yeah, I really need to see if I can get my hands on one and play around with it and see if it would suit anything for me. So, oh, that's not supposed to be playing. Oh, no! Here, we got to cancel that because it's trying to capture the D-05 as well. So let me just go through and make sure these are... actually, those can be on. Oh, you know what? I'm dumb. I think those are ones that are already... Yeah, that's right. Oops. So in Ableton, once you have, bounced out a track or frozen a track and then flattened it into audio, all the tracks when you do the same thing actually play back. But it's been a while, and I forgot that I had done that, so I was just freaking out there for a second. So, cow food, is a Digitact something that you would just take little snippets of things and build like little loops I guess I'm a little. I assume it's probably somewhat limited in terms of the overall storage, which is fine. But in terms of for performance, is it kind of like a regular drum machine in that regard? But you could just add some additional sampling in there, and then string together patterns, I guess. Okay, one hit. Do you have any recommendations on YouTube videos or anything I could check out and just see how? Okay. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, but if you know any cool videos on YouTube I can check out, I'd like to kind of see it in action. I need to get down to my Guitar Center down here, but they don't tend to have, some of the cool stuff. So, but I need to see if I get a hold of one and play with it. Cool. That's the latest addition in your little studio, right? Do you have any other cool stuff? I haven't talked to you in a little while, so any other news and happenings? Yeah, it sounds like it would take a little bit of time to figure the ins and outs. I'm having a hard time understanding it, just talking about it, but that's why I'm thinking, a good YouTube video might shine some light on it for me and see if it's worth the money to add it into the studio over here. The carp. What's the carp? Who makes the carp? I haven't heard of that. I did a search for it on Google, and it's comes up with the fish, which I'm pretty sure that's not. You didn't buy a carp fish. Oh, okay. Korgot Odyssey. Gotcha. I was like, no way, cow food, you bought a fish? Yeah, how do you like the Odyssey then? That was one that like I thought about getting when it came out, but I saw that it didn't have. It's kind of like the MS-20 Mini where they don't output any CC on the controls, which is fine. But since I do a lot of studio work, I've got an MS-20 Mini and it's fine. But I tend to use it for things where I don't need to do real-time parameter changes. And I saw that the ARP Odyssey was kind of the same way, where you don't have output CC values on the knobs. So I was kind of like, well, I mean, maybe I'll get one eventually, but it hasn't been a real high priority. But how does it sound? Are you a fan of the Korg Odyssey, which is weird to say since they were made by ARP, the ARP Odyssey. That makes sense. The carp. Yeah, this MIDI pitch. Okay, and that's just like the MS-20. Do they? But there's a little bit more CV on. Well, there's some CV options on the ARP. Well, the carp. That sounds weird to say. This is one of the weird things about Ableton. Like when you bounce out your audio, I don't know exactly how it does it. Especially since I do things in clip mode. Because sometimes it sounds like it does the same thing like 3 or 4 times. It's kind of weird. But it always comes out fine. So. Oh, what did I see? I read something on Synthtopia that Korg is taking over distribution for what is it, Wardolph? Let me see if I can find that article while we're doing this. Where was that article? I think I saw it on Facebook. But, look. They've got ambient music for cats. What? Oh, cats and synths. I used to have a cat when I first started working on music, and I was like, yeah, you kind of poop in your litter box. Kind of don't want you walking around on my synths. Let me see if I can find that article, though. Yeah, here it is. With like 70 ads on it. Come on, Synthtopia. You need that many freaking ads showing up on here? It's just, I guess, US distribution. Yeah, I saw this and I was like, oh, that's freaking crazy. I was reading through this here. I thought that was really kind of interesting news in the synth world. I've never owned any of their synths before, but you know, I've stumbled across them in my journeys. I've just never bought any, and I've actually I don't think I've ever even heard any. Oh, Calfood, you got 3 cats? Oh, they must love your synth cave then. Especially if you have any tiered, you know, shelves or anything. They just love getting on those. At least mine did. And all the wires dangling down everywhere. I think this one is almost done. Then we'll go get the forest one from, was it Rainforest off of the D-05. The cool thing is the VSTs, those, when you render those out, that's almost like just a couple seconds because they're digital, you know, but. Yeah, let me pop this back up. I found the article on Syntopia, Air Cow Food. Yeah, so Waldorf, Core USA, now exclusive US distributor for Waldorf, which I thought was pretty crazy. Had you stumbled across this news yet? I think I saw this today on, was this today? I think I saw it today on Facebook, but I don't know what day this was published on here. They don't have a date. Hey Adam, what's up, man? It's going good, dude. We're just I'm just rendering out some tracks here for, well, some sections of this Ableton track been working on with the SE-02 and the D-05, and just chatting with Mr. Cowfood about some synth news and some acquisitions he's made here recently. Picked up a Digitact, and it was called the Carp, the Korg ARP Odyssey. So they call it the Carp. So guys, Adam has been designing a synthesizer from scratch, like an analog synth. So check out his channel and take a look at what he's doing. It's something that I've always been fascinated with. I've always kind of wanted to build my own synthesizer. I always thought that would be cool. So we'll just flatten this here, duplicate it, and then that one's muted. But yeah, I just haven't had the time to devote to that. I have how do you say, a basic understanding of electronic circuits and things like that. When I was in high school, I had a computer electronics class, and they taught us how to build working circuits and things like that using and or and NOR gates and all those kinds of things. It was pretty basic. I wish I had a whole book on it, and I don't know what happened to it over the years, but So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for me to get into some of that stuff eventually, but just been busy. All right, so we got the SE-02. Let's go over to our D-05 and let's do the same business over here. So we'll just duplicate this. Shut that down. Get rid of this one. Oops, I had duplicate, not delete. Okay, cool. And then I always check if I have any effects on anything that's not like an arpeggiator. I always like turn those off or disable them and copy them over after it's done flattening. So this one should be quite a bit quicker because it's only a couple of sections for this. Oops, let's turn this one off. Oh, nice. Yeah, glad to see you in here, Adam. I apologize. I've been trying to kind of move these a little bit earlier because I'm in Denver. So by the time I hop on, like right now, it's almost midnight. But I know you're over in the UK. I used to work for British Telecom. So I'm very familiar with the time over there still. That kind of sticks with you. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, man, don't listen to that. I watched your videos of the design, you know, when you were talking about some of the designs for the oscillators and things, and I was like, I couldn't tell. I thought you knew plenty about electronics, so yeah, that's crazy though. I guess, I mean, if you can read a schematic and instructions, it's probably not super difficult, but what you've got, your latest demo that you put out, I thought sounded really good. So that thing's moving along. And there's a company that I found, because when I was kind of thinking about getting into this, I was like, well, I will want to have PCBs made, after you prototype, etc. And there's a place that I found that you can get limited run PCBs made for not a huge amount of money, because what they do is they take like several people's designs and print them all at once kind of thing. So you're kind of sharing the cost with other people that are getting their prototype PCBs done. So oh, BT, good old BT. Yeah, I worked for their conferencing division. So we did when I got hired over there, I was working specifically on telepresence conference rooms, like big $1 million rooms for like Pepsi and Fiat, Chrysler, and those types of places. And they had purchased this company from somebody else. So I guess they kind of rolled it into BT because they wanted to sell the network contracts or something, I guess. It's very lucrative doing the network side of that whole business. So they owned the company, but they were not the ones that actually ran it, if that makes sense. Oh, you got kicked off your internet there, Cow Food? Welcome back, sir. Yeah, if you missed anything, we're just talking about Adam. Adam, if you check out his channel, he's doing a synth from scratch, analog synthesizer that he's building with components and everything, and it's coming along really nice. And it turns out he doesn't have any electronics background, but man, I couldn't tell, and the synth is sounding really cool. Hey, finally we got D-05 sounds. Yeah, Adam, if I can find the name of that place that I had researched for the PCBs, you know, when you're at that stage, and if you want to give them a look, I haven't used them, but I thought maybe the information might be helpful. I think they're based in the U.S. though, so I don't know how if they'll ship to the U.K. or how that all works, but maybe it'll be helpful, or maybe they can at least refer you to somebody in the area over there. The D-05, I like it, man. I was always a fan of the D-50 because as a kid, I watched the Ninja Turtles. I think in the UK they called them the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. But actually there was a funny story. I was at a dinner with some work people, and one of the guys there was from some European country. And I tried talking to him about the Hero Turtles. He didn't know what the hell I was talking about. So apparently I think that was just a UK thing. But anyways, with the D-05, the D-50 was used a lot in that cartoon's soundtrack. So like I always kind of really liked the music in that cartoon. And since a lot of it was D-50, just kind of had a love for it. So, and I've got a little librarian / editor. If you want, I did a video on how to do a sysx dump on this thing, but that thing you can do. It really helps open up the potential of this, because instead of using the little tiny menu here, it's got a nice laid out UI where you can select your either PCM or your waveform, etc., and do all kind of your sound design on the software and get the feedback in real time, which I think is going to be awesome. And when I had a D-50, I didn't have that particular editor, so I think it's going to be cool. And I'll be doing some videos on that eventually. And you know what? I remember when I had the D-50, even though I think the screen's actually a little bigger on the D-50. I think because of how big the keyboard is, I want to say it's a 61 key, but maybe it's not quite that big. But I remember just thinking it seemed more difficult than this. And probably because all that other stuff is removed, it just makes it seem a little more friendly. If that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. All right, so let's just make sure real quick here that I've got these sounds. So yeah, and speaking of the D-50 or the D-05, we just bounced out the other set of presets that I'm using in this track. So this one's muted. So let's just solo this guy. And my output to you guys. I just want to make sure this is all in here. Oh. so that's good. And hopefully I'm not blowing your guys' ears out, because I think my mic is probably picking all that up too. But yeah, so that's groovy. Let's just double check the SE-02 bounce, make sure that's good too. Alright, so that sounds good. Alright, cool. So we'll go through... Oh, you know what? So I've got some live percussion as well. Let's do those real quick. So I'm using snare crescendo from the TR-8. What's this other snares? Is there something in here? There's stuff in here. Those look like hi-hats. The hell is this? I don't know what that is. So hopefully I didn't mess something up, but there's not anything in this one. And that's kind of weird because I don't... Huh. Alright, I guess I better make sure my stuff's still here, so hold on one sec. Okay, that freaked me out. So apparently I was doing something with another set of snares that I'm not doing anything with anymore. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I need to bounce these out, and I need to bounce out hi-hats here. These are from the TR-09. Those are sampled. The crash is sampled, and impact snare. Okay, so we need to do this one next. So, and well, do I... Actually, maybe I'll wait on the TR-8 because I might want to change some of these crescendos around, but we can definitely do the hi-hats, so we'll do those then. So we'll freeze that guy. Freeze it. Yeah, the number menus, Adam, they get kind of confusing on here, but at least there's this. This isn't the worst synth ever. I think the worst synth ever is the TX7, but people on the internet apparently do not agree with me. But yeah, that has also to do with the fact that it's FM synthesis, but this is more, you know, it's PCMs plus synthesis. It's kind of a unique, I think the D-05 was the first synthesizer to come out with onboard effects, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, thanks, Doscos. Appreciate that, man. Hey, Doscos is, I believe he's kind of new to producing. But Dos, do you have any work online anywhere? I'd just be interested to hear some stuff if you have anything out there. Oh, another cool thing that happened to me last week, I got an email from a company reaching out about posting on my YouTube channel on the main page. you guys are all subscribed, but if you're not subscribed, I think the channel preview video I have on there is a 360 video of the studio in here with one of the tracks that I worked on the live streams. And I had this company called VR or Veer, I guess, VEER, reach out, and they were really interested in getting that video up on their platform. So I did, and it's gotten a good amount of plays in the last couple days. Last time I checked, it had close to 500 plays on there. But it's a cool little platform. Like they have an app that'll work on your phone, and if you have something like the Gear VR or some other kind of VR headset, you can basically stand in my workshop here, and it feels like you're actually in here, which is cool. The YouTube video, that's how I demoed it, and it was kind of a pain in the ass. So using an app like this Veer or VR, however you want to say it, is a lot easier, I think, for the 360 videos. But it's cool how kind of like, yeah, you get the sense of the room in here like really well, I think. Yeah, cool. So Daskos, when you get that, man, shoot me over your SoundCloud or wherever you end up posting it. Let me know. And I'm trying to do some more videos kind of during the week that aren't live. So like I did that that video on the D-05 SysX dump and load process to back up patches and everything. I'll probably be doing some kind of more stuff like that. Maybe some synth demos of some of the other instruments in here. I really need... I've got the SteepMind 12 that I need to dig into some more. I've used it a little bit. I used it on the... some kind of awesome track actually quite a bit, but I really want to play with it some more and do some sound design on it. And I do want to take this stupid DX7 off the top tier over here and try and do something with it and just see if I can I don't know, see if I can get something cool out of it. I'm sure I can, but maybe I'll have a change of heart. Oh, that's cool, Doss. Yeah, man, anytime you have questions or anything, I'll do my best to help out with whatever. I know that these videos are long format and they can be a little dry. But, yeah, if you're learning, that's awesome. Yeah, thanks, Adam. I've been building this studio for like, 10 years, 9 years. So I've had lots of synths come in and out of here, but recently in the last couple of years I've been able to actually hold on to some of them, which is nice. Then of course you start running into space problems. Oh, the good old DX7. Like, I think people misunderstood my video. I know I smashed one, but it was for dramatic effect, okay? It was already a broken DX7. But, it's always been a running joke. Every forum I've been in, everyone talks shit about the DX7. I guess I didn't realize that when people look for videos on synths, they tend to like them. So I think that the majority of people that are finding that video like the DX7 and hence hate that video. But basically, I understand, when it was released in 83, I think, it was a big deal, and I get that, but it still is shit, like a big shitbag to program. So I think it's way more complicated than the D-05 or the D50 or any of those types of, or the M1, where they still didn't have any knobs really, but just having to understand FM synthesis along with trying to figure out how to program on a shitty interface, it's like, that's like the worst thing ever. Plus it's brown, so Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's awful. And thank God for the D50 because it killed the DX7. Hooray! Alright, so we got those hi-hats. What else do we need to bounce out here? That's the one that we just did. Yeah, it's a pig, man. Oh, Adam, I wish I would have met you before, man, because I would have sent you that thing. It was, I only smashed the boards. Like, the chassis was actually not, I didn't destroy that. I just smashed the boards inside. But for a parts synth, it would have worked well. And actually, you probably could have taken something like the key bed out of that and used it on your analog synth that you've been developing. So, I apologize for that, but I gotten rid of it before I met you on here. Yeah, the Volca FM was somebody. I don't know if you guys know Bo Beats. You probably do. I would imagine maybe. He's a guy over in Sweden who does a lot of videos on synthesizers and some stuff like that. He actually just got a Matrix Brute, that's on my list of synths to pick up eventually. But I made a comment about, yeah, you think that the Matrix Brute is complicated, but sit somebody down in front of a DX7 and tell them to have a go at it, and they'll probably smash one like I did, kind of thing. And somebody recommended to me the Volca FM. I guess the onboard controls are pretty good, but I don't know. So if you have one there, Cal Food, let me know what you think of it. All right, so we got these. We got our bass. Actually, I could probably freeze the bass too. Freeze the bass. Oh, but wait a minute. Yeah, we're good. We can freeze this. Sorry, guys, just thinking out loud. I'm gonna freeze the bass, which almost seems like it should be a song by itself. Freeze the bass. All right, so we'll turn these off. And I have effects on here, so I need to take these off. And then freeze the bass. So Adam, when you do your FM programming for your DX7, are you using something like DexEd or are you using something else? Because even DexEd, like I've got DexEd and I've played with it, but it seems also a little bit confusing, although at least you can kind of see a little bit what's going on. But if you have another recommendation, let me know, because yeah, I think it's time to pull that thing off the top shelf and see if I can do some cool stuff with it. Flatten. See, that's the nice thing. Look, VST, and it's already flattened. Took like 2 seconds, and then I'll just paste my effects back in here. Bam. That's the nice thing about these. Oh, let's take these out. This is my sub bass. Flatten that sucker. Yeah, I'd appreciate that. I don't think those are that much money either. Like $150 or something. I could probably get a used one for not a lot of money, but I don't know. I've got Citrus, which is an image line plugin from Fruity Loops. I think it's one of their plugins that comes bundled in there. And the thing about Fruity Loops is I always thought Fruity Loops was a big piece of shit because when I first started producing way back a long time ago, it was not what it is now. It was literally like a weird loop-based thing that, like, I remember I couldn't figure out how to freaking use it. And I used Reason instead because it was like, I can actually program my MIDI notes and I understand here's my synthesizer, and I can wire up my rack, and it was kind of like the real world, which I liked. But yeah, Citrus is kind of cool the way it presents FM to you, yeah, I haven't had a lot of time to play with that either, but a lot better, I think. Oh, okay. DX100 and what is that? TX81Z Casio CZ series. Yeah, the Casio CZs were popular. MiniQuest. I actually just picked up MiniQuest when I was looking for an editor for the D-05. Because apparently, I'm from what I understand, that thing, there's like different instruments you can add to it. And apparently Roland, I'm guessing Roland worked with them to make something for the VC1 card as an editor. And I'm assuming that was probably utilized for when people got the VC1 card and used it on like the Varios, which is like the stripped down, is it the Varios? I think it is. But yeah, it was like, I think that's what that was for. But I looked at it and I was like, yeah, I like this. Plus, I think that one cost money. But I think I've got a demo of it. But I was testing it out when I was trying to figure out how to do stuff with the D-05 with an editor. All right, yeah. Yes, shoot that over my way, man. So I'm trying to give the DX7 a chance at my admiration, which I doubt it will get, but actually I will duplicate that. Mute that one. Mute that one. They have so the MiniQuest thing. I just did a search for like D50 librarian or D50 editor or something like that, and it was one of the first things that came up, and I was able to download it right off their website. So I think it's still a thing. But yeah, I mean, that was the first time I had heard of it. And I had the VC1 card with a V-Synth back in like 2006. And I remember thinking, this is not very good. I wish I still had it because I could compare it to, like the D-05 or a real D50 when I had that. But those VC1 cards go for like $500 now. And I think I sold when I sold those. I can't remember. I don't think I got more than $100 or $150 for that card. I don't remember now, but yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, I bet you it would work. Like the MiniQuest D50 editor will probably work with the D-05. That might be worth actually experimenting and doing a little video on that, because I'm sure people will have that question. Let's rename this M1 so I don't forget. So yeah, in this track I'm using like a lot of old school stuff in here, a lot of old school Rompler type synths. Which I think they're like, it's cool to take some of those, synthesizers that are old like that and had been overly used as preset boxes basically, but still try and find ways to make them work in kind of a modern workflow and with some nuance, if that makes sense. Just fun to experiment with them and toss them in and see what happens. Did you go look for it, Calfu? Did you find MIDI Quest? You can download it right now. I want to say that they wanted like $100 for it or something, and I was like, no. No, I'll just use the free D50 library, which is actually really nice. Yeah, that's a good idea, Adam. I probably will do some, and actually maybe in the next live stream, because I think I'm about wrapped up with this track here. It's just got a little bit of polish it needs to have done to it and some other things, but maybe next weekend we'll try and do some editing on the D-05 in real time and see if I can make some cool stuff. I did kind of play around with it, so I know it works. What I kind of want to do is go through and deconstruct some of the popular sounds and then maybe try and like rebuild them in a certain way. I don't know. And just kind of have fun with it, Planet Fat. Oh shit. You know what? Oh boy. I didn't want to do that. I forgot. I have an EQ on here that I don't want to. I don't want this flattened. So I'm going to cut that. There we go. Well, shit, apparently I don't even have it on this one. Let's see. So Adam, do you produce music, or are you just kind of into designing synths, or what's your story, man? Rename this segment. Yeah, Planet Fat. I haven't heard of Planet Fat. Let me do a search on that, actually. That sounds interesting. Oh, dude, is it? It's green. Oh, Emu Planet Fat. Digital Sound Factory. What? Well, I'm going to have to watch some videos on this one. Look, so So for all you guys who don't know about this website, there's this cool site called Vintage Synth. That's not the right window. This is the right window. But yeah, Vintage Synth Explorer has a lot of these old school synths in here, and it'll kind of tell you about them and who used them. Yeah, Planet Fat. Look, it's friggin' purple, or is that pink? I can't tell. That's pretty wild. I gotta see. I hope there's some videos on YouTube of that. I wonder what it sounds like. You have one of those, cow food? Were you a Planet Fat guy? That sounds weird when you say it like that. Planet Fat guy. I wonder what this is going to do if I cut. If I cut this, this is actually going to be a good experiment. So I've just cut out that filter that does automation. I'm going to freeze this track and then flatten it and then repaste that same EQ in there and see if the automation stays or if it goes. Hopefully it stays. Otherwise I'll have to redo it manually. Pirate radio DJ. That's cool. Nice. I was actually had dinner with my boss and her husband at my job, and he was big into drum and bass back in the day. All right, moment of truth. Let's see if this worked. Hey, look at there. That's great. So the automation stayed. Oh, that's awesome. Yay. That's freaking fantastic. So that's good to know. If you have to, for whatever reason, cut out your effects like what I'm doing here and then paste them back in, if you have automation on them, it will stay. Yeah, R&B, hip hop. I still want to hear what one sounds like because I love finding out about these new synths that I never heard of before, or in this case, like an old Rompler. Do you guys have an opinion on what makes a synthesizer a synthesizer? Because I've had conversations with people online that get pretty heated about what people think, and I'm just curious what you guys think. Because to me, a synthesizer is an instrument where you have your selectable waveforms, or even if it's just a single waveform, like say a TB-303, that's fine. But you have all other parameters to affect the sound. Whereas, something like something that is hard set, like I was talking to a guy and I was like, here's like some shitty Casio or something that you would buy at the store for like $50. And you don't have the ability to change anything other than the particular sound in general, but you don't have any editable parameters like, is this a synthesizer? I would say no, because you don't have any control of anything. It's just basically, it's like Nexus or something. It's just all presets. Like it's not a synth. Is it? What do you guys think? Let me know. But yeah, one guy was he went so far as to say anything that samples anything is also a synthesizer, where I'm like, no, that's a sampler, dipshit. That's not a synthesizer. So, like, yeah. Oh yeah, it does have two waves. You're right. I'm sorry. It has, and I have one sitting in front of me. I've got the sawtooth and the square. Oh wow, 32 megabytes. Woo woo. I want to say, I'm trying to remember now. My first computer when I started making music was like it's like an old Dell Inspiron. Um, I don't remember how big the hard drive was on it, but I don't think it was very big. It was able to run. Did I run Reason on that? I don't even remember now. I think I did. I think I ran Reason on there, but for a long time, before I even got Reason, I was using a program called Dream Station. And actually, I'll pop that up here. I think I'm going to save this for where we're at here, guys, in terms of the track. I'm probably going to jump off the live stream here in a second, but let me just show you this real quick. This was my old programming. This is kind of how I learned how to make music. Let's see if I can bring this up. Yeah, see, cow food. That's exactly what I told this guy on Facebook. Yeah, that got pretty heated. I thought I was gonna get kicked off that forum. I didn't cuss the guy out. I just called him an idiot. But apparently that was like, oh my gosh, you guys are just taking it too far. Anyway, here is my original. This is how I learned how to do everything. It was on this stupid thing. This thing called Dream Station by who the hell made this? Brian Franks. Thanks, Brian. Or Farkas. Sorry, Brian Farkas. Graphics. I can't even say your name. Zoltan. Is it Zoltan? This is Zoltan from Dude, Where's My Car? So anyway, this this is how I got into music. I've got some old stuff I'll have to play for you guys one of these days, but actually there's some in here. I don't know if this is routed to play, but let me just try and pull one of these old shitty songs up. It's just basically a MIDI tracker, and you had 8 tracks down here, and then your master channel. And you would just string these together. It's kind of funny because this is kind of how I use Ableton now. But this is like you would just program in your freaking notes, and this thing isn't actually doing anything. I don't even remember how to use this, and I can't apparently scale this up. But yeah, this thing was the biggest piece of shit ever. Let's see what our preferences look like. Primary sound driver. Can I send this to output 7 and 8? On my 003, it'll do, there we go, 7 and 8. Let's see if you guys can hear this. I'm not going to be able to hear it because I don't have headphones on, but let me just turn this way down because it might be really loud. Let me know if you guys can hear this stupid thing. I think this was one of my tracks, but I don't remember. And I was doing, like, my buddies were all into rap, even though I was never into that. I was all about the trance and stuff back then. But so I tried mixing some rap beats for them to rap on and stuff. But let me know if you guys can hear this. Hold on, let me check my output. Yeah, it looks like you guys should have some sound there. I'll just turn it down. That's probably enough, actually. Oh my god. But yeah, so this is how I learned how. I mean, it's basically a little VA synth up here, and I would always try like little tricks. Like you can see my tempo I have way up here at 287, so I could get some like faster notes and almost do like arpeggiated sequences and stuff, even though I didn't even know what an arpeggiator was. Oh, good times. And I remember, I think when I bought this, it was like $50. And I remember being like, man, that's so much money. But I was only like 22 or something, making like dick for money back then. But yeah, that's a good time. I'm going to do a retrospective video on this actually at some point. But yeah, it's good times. It's like I would sample beats from Hammerhead and take those and import the PCM samples that I created into that Dream Station. Oh, yeah, I just had to reset my camera because the freaking white balance is all off, so you guys got some words there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun learning all that stuff. But yeah, Hammerhead was dope because it had like some 909 type sounds. I think it had this really deep, like boom, like really big bassy kind of sub kick that you could throw in. And yeah, so I would just sample out one shots and then import those into that Dream Station thing and then sequence everything with the synths on there. And then by the time I kind of stopped using it was before I got Reason, but I couldn't quite afford Reason. So I did kind of some sketch shit. Like I took a song like off a demo and I sampled part of some of the instruments, and then I would bring those PCMs into Dream Station and then try and make some shit out of that. Anyway, it was wild. It was a good time. All right. So yeah, I think I'm gonna jump out of here. Cowfoot, I'll see you on the IRC, man. I gotta check out that video that you sent me. And yeah, it's great to see you guys. Great to see Adam and Das Goss as always. Really appreciate you guys here. Anyone else? Again, live streams every Sunday night, so be sure to drop by. And I appreciate you guys joining me. So I'll talk to you guys next week. And I'll try to get another video out here in the interim as well. Some other stuff. We'll see what comes up. All right, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.